Some of the greatest seducers, male and female, were not good looking at all. It's about psychology and it's about how you carry yourself.
You know, there's words that you can use to reason with people, and there's a place for that, and it's important. And there are words that you use to cast a spell. So when we read poetry, when we read Shakespeare, we're not looking for rationality, for logic. We're looking for that spell, for that feeling, for that emotion. So getting back to the non-verbal aspect of seduction, you know, there's words that you can use to reason with people, and there's a place for that, and it's important. And there are words that you use to cast a spell. So when we read poetry, when we read Shakespeare, we're not looking for rationality, for logic. We're looking for that spell, for that feeling, for that emotion. One of the greatest male seducers that ever lived was Errol Flynn, the actor. The power that Errol Flynn had, I had to study it and figure out what was the secret to his success. It wasn't really anything he did. He was completely undefensive. There wasn't a defensive bone in his body. He was open, non-judgmental, and women would say that when you would get into a room with him, you were afraid of this guy. 10 minutes with him in the room and you've lost all of your inhibitions. They said it was like drinking 4 martinis just to be there. They hadn't drunk a thing. It's because he was so relaxed that he would pass that mood to you. Human beings are not just logical animals. We're physical, we have bodies, and our emotions, our physicality responds to the physicality of the other person. So you, Barry, being very relaxed and open makes me feel relaxed. If you're all defensive and worried, makes me defensive and worried. These are the sort of the grammar of seduction that you have to learn. People consciously won't admit to wanting to be seduced, but everybody secretly wants to. So the key is everyone's different. What would seduce one person, what they unconsciously need or want or are missing in life is not the same as another person. I just remembered this anecdote. It's not in my book because it's happened to me. But when I was young, 21, I lived in Paris. I was working at a hotel. And this is sort of when I started getting interested in seduction because I met a man who worked at this hotel. He didn't work there, he just frequented it. This is a hotel where all the models stayed in Paris. He was this Brazilian man. He was the greatest seducer I've personally ever met. He was good looking, but he had the art down. And he was seducing everyone, and I was just amazed. I couldn't believe, what was the secret to this guy, his success? And one time I was with him, I was walking down the street, and he was with his latest conquest. And this other woman came up to him, all angry and bitter and crying. It was somebody that he had seduced and abandoned. And I go, uh-oh, we're gonna see a fight, it's gonna get ugly. I took the other woman aside, let's get away. 30 seconds later, she was completely melted and was back under his charm, and he was like signaling to us to leave. It was because he was like that Errol Flynn thing. He had nothing defensive about him. He was sort of like, yes, I understand. And he, through his physicality, through the fact that he didn't get angry, that he didn't get defensive, he didn't start defending himself. He didn't say, well, let me explain. No, he just immediately went into this sort of calm, loving, intense attention mode, and it worked on her. I know that's what I was getting at. Her unconscious. She just melted in front of him.
We live in a culture where people think you shouldn't have to put effort into something like love and romance. You should just be who you are, man. I don't have to put on a role. I don't have to play a game. That's manipulative. Blah 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. Love and romance is something that is almost biological. If you look at animals and mating rituals, they're incredibly elaborate. Seduction is a mating ritual. And so the worst thing you can feel is that this person isn't putting any effort into something. Let's just say it's from the woman's point of view. This man, He just shows up wearing jeans and his usual sloppy outfit. He doesn't comb his hair, etc., etc., etc. He takes me to the pub for dinner on our first date. You know, he's not thinking about me. He's not willing to put any effort into it. If he's not willing to put any effort into it, what's it going to be like 3 months down the line when he completely takes me for granted, which is what happens in a relationship? Am I not important enough? Whereas the ability to have a little bit of effort, to think of it as kind of theater and drama, and that there's nothing evil about it. So I'm going to dress nicely. I just have to be fancy. It's just that I'm going to put some effort into how I look. I'm going to take her to a place that I'm not talking about candlelights and roses and that kind of, you can be creative. It can be somewhere that's scuzzy, that's on the wrong side of town, but it's different and it's appealing to, and you put some thought into it. There's a reason you're taking her there, right? If you're not able to let go of your kind of tightness when it comes to a woman, something's wrong with you, man. Just let go. Spend some extra money. Spend the extra 10 quid that you might need to spend on taking her to someplace different. But it signals a kind of cheapness. And it's not about money. It's about a cheapness in your spirit, right? She's not worth, letting go. Okay, maybe you don't have that much, but my God, you have enough. It's not going to if you're that poor, then okay, maybe. But probably not. You can afford it. Show that it means something to you. Seduction is a language. It's not a language of words. It's a language of gestures that we're paying attention to. We're paying attention to people's body language. We're paying attention to their actions, to the things that they never say. So when you signal that discounts are so important to you that even on the first date you have to have a discount, you're signaling that there's something tight about you in your nature, and it's not very pleasant. But the idea that things must come easy and quick is very prevalent. A lot of it is, I'm afraid to say, is internet porn, where you get the idea that sex is something that should be very easy and quick, and that women should have that kind of body and physique, etc., and that becomes your norm, etc. That can be very damaging. And to win over someone like, let's say you're a man and it's a woman who might be reluctant to have sex for good reason or reluctant to have a relationship, requires some effort. It requires some thinking. You can't just hack your way. You can't just swipe and get it. You can have your internet sex, but you're not going to get that in real life. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes patience, and you're going to have to work at, and you're going to be rejected. Being with people is a skill. Being a social animal, although there's a part that comes naturally, if you spend all of your time here, you're losing that skill of how to respond to people's body language. Half of the thing is you're sitting in a bar opposite, let's say it's a woman, and how she crosses her legs, how she sips her drink, how she looks at you, how she touches her hair. She's signaling things. It's a language. It's a beautiful language, right? You have to learn it, and you're not going to learn it here because you can't. You have to be in person. It has to be skin to skin. You have to get a feel for what other people are thinking and feeling. And we're actually really, really good at that. That's what makes us human. It's called mirror neurons. I can sense what's going on in your mind. I can read your body language. You have to get out in the world, and you have to put yourself physically out there and try and have rejection. And I know it sounds awful, but it is a skill in a way, where you're learning how to understand and deal with people and understand who they are and get inside their spirit. It takes time and effort and patience. So for young men, you have to realize that, right? If you think everything has to be easy and quick, it's never going to work for you. And then I talk about the Hollywood actor Errol Flynn, who is perhaps numerically the greatest male seducer ever, because it's estimated that he had seduced close to 3,000 women, and he died when he was 50. And if I did the math one day, how can that possibly be? And I tried to research what was his secret, and it was hard to find out. Finally, I found a book written by a woman whom he had seduced, another actress. And she said, he was so relaxed and so comfortable. It was like an animal type thing. And then when I would sit with him, it was almost as if I had drunk 2 martinis just sitting next to him. His comfort and his security and his confidence, his relaxed attitude, it just made me drunk. So feeling relaxed, feeling confident and not defensive and comfortable with yourself is a very powerful seductive quality. I mean, there are many of them, but that's one that I would point out. Now, there is a part of weakness that is seductive. So I would say vulnerability is seductive, but insecurity is anti-seductive. And there's a big difference. So if I can define seduction in simple terms, most of the time we are closed to the influence of other people. Particularly now, we have these walls up because life is harsh. People are coming at us with their advertisements, with their pleas, with their wanting money, with this, that, and the other. And we've all learned to be very defensive, right? And seduction is an openness, is the opposite of that. And you felt it when you were a child towards your parents. You felt very vulnerable and open. And there was an element of your parents and how they treated you that was very much like a seduction, right? So seduction is about being open to the other person to the extent where you can even fall in love. You can fall under their spell. And the sense of letting go of your ego, letting go of your defensiveness, and letting another person enter your world is being seduced. It requires vulnerability. If you meet, the typical scenario is of a man who's not vulnerable at all. He's so powerful and in control and everything, has no vulnerabilities. It's frightening, for a woman. It could be very frightening. Like this, he's so strong, he's so invulnerable, that there's something wrong about it. Maybe he's a serial killer. Maybe he's got skeletons in his closet. Something isn't right about that. What seduces you about a puppy, about a child, about an animal, is their vulnerability. It makes you want to hug them. It makes you want to help them, right? The sense which if you came upon a tiger that's there and they don't need that, well, that's not seductive. I mean, on your screen it is, but if they're there in your living room, that's not seductive. But that puppy is, right? Vulnerability, the sense that somebody needs protection or help, brings out qualities in us that we don't normally have, that I think allow for seduction. So that is being vulnerable. That is, I can be influenced by that other person. I am open to their spirit, right? That's being vulnerable. The word vulnerable, I hate to sound like a professor here, so excuse me, in seduction, comes from the root of it means a wound, vulnus. So you have a wound inside of you and you need healing. And the other person naturally wants to help you, right? But being insecure is means I'm so self-absorbed, I'm so worried about myself that I can't get out of it. And we've all had that experience. When you meet somebody and you can sense, you can smell their insecurity in them. I'm not judging them because we all have insecurities. It makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel a little bit awkward. Whereas if you meet someone who's not like that, who's confident, etc., it brings out that quality in you. So if you're on a date and there's someone you smell that kind of insecurity, it makes you awkward and insecure. It creates a kind of a problem. So that would be the difference between the two. So, fake confidence is like bravado, right? And you're putting on an act. And particularly women who've had to deal with this for, millennia, they can smell it, they can sense it. They don't have to, it's not in your words, it's the body language, etc., etc. Real confidence comes from actual actions, from your actual things you've accomplished. Some of the greatest seducers, male and female, were not good looking at all. It's about psychology and it's about how you carry yourself. But the confidence comes from actually what you can do not how you feel or what you say. Well, it is how you feel, but the feeling is based on things that you actually can do, skills that you have that separate you, that make you feel really confident, you know?